This episode of That's What G Said podcast is brought to you by Sarah Candle Company. SarahCandles.com is the website, CERA Candles.com. They have a deal right now for a Valentine's Day box. For $20, you get to pick two of these 3 scents. They'll box it all up, wrap it up nicely for you. You can pick either Fresh Roses, Tuxedo, or Date Night. You pick two of those 3. They put it in the box. You use the promo code GINO, G-I-N-O. They'll get you 10% off of your purchase. These are affordable. They are perfect for a significant other. It's just $20 if you need it for your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your wife, your husband, brother, sister, family member, aunt, uncle. It's something that's cool for like a boss or work. You know, everybody loves a candle. Work friend, any friends at all. $20, nice gesture. You're supporting a small business here. Friend of the podcast, Tyler Herringer over at Sarah Candle Company. On this episode of That's What G Said, we're going to talk trade rumors in the NBA. We're going to talk about a big Dodger trade rumor. We're going to recap the Super Bowl, and then it's going to be Sam Houston Wednesday. We're going to focus in on the racing card over at Sam Houston, and then we'll close things out with some 3-year-olds in the world of horse racing. We're going to talk Kentucky Derby. We're going to look at some of the top 25, 30, what their plans are moving forward, and what the preps look like coming up the next few weeks. Kick back and enjoy this episode of That's What G Said.
So you want your daily dose of sports and pop culture? Well, I know a guy named G who gives it to you good. That's what G said. From Game of Thrones and Stranger Things to DDTs and chicken wings and banking on a long shot to close. Will the Lakers bounce back? Did USC upset them? Will the Dodgers hop on all who oppose? It's gotta be our year. It's gotta be our year. It's gotta be our fucking year. That's what G said.
February 4th, 2020. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of That's What G Said podcast. It is day one. So sad of my girlfriend Stephanie having to go back to work. Milo is now 12 weeks old today, so she had to go back to work. And so, for me, I record shows for this podcast and then for the Mike Abadier show, and I just record them from home with my equipment. So it's Papa G at home with Milo and Grandma and Nanu helping out. I'm over at my mom and dad's right now. They're keeping an eye on him while I record this. But so it's gonna be like this for a while. So it's sad. I wish Stephanie didn't have to go back to work. So you know what? All you guys have to do is just keep subscribing to the show, downloading, sharing it with your friends, and then we just keep building. That's what G set up so much to where I can just say, Stephanie, you don't have to go to work anymore. We are good to go. So help us out. Help out the sponsors of That's What G Said. If you see Sarah Candles out there, Cindy Carava out there when you need anything in the field of real estate. And we're going to be talking a lot about Sam Houston racing too. So treat our sponsors well, and it'll go a long way as getting Stephanie back. We want to get her out of work soon so she can come spend all the time, and I'll work harder and do an extra couple gigs or an extra couple shows if we need to. We're gonna bounce around. These are my favorite type episodes where we get to talk a little bit of everything. So let's get right into it. Lots of rumors in the NBA right now as far as the trade deadline, which is coming up on Thursday. I'm recording this on February 4th, which is Tuesday. I'm just going to go through a bunch of the rumors that are out there right now and kind of talk them out. What makes this trade deadline a little bit interesting is that this feels just like a really wide open NBA year, mainly because there's no dominant team. There's no returning champion like the Warriors dynasty was, or like the Heat with LeBron and Wade, or even like the Spurs were all those years, or like the Lakers years back. There was just no team coming into this year that everybody knew was going to be awesome. People just expected the Clippers to be good, and they are, and they're one of the teams that deserve to win. But they're right now, I'd say there's at least 5 teams that probably feel like they can win the title, and maybe even a little bit more, because the East, it feels like Milwaukee, and then if it's not Milwaukee, it feels like there could be 5 other teams, right? In the West, you still probably have 4 or 5 teams that feel like they can really win it all. And so, a move here or there with all of these teams this year, they all have weaknesses, and nobody's strengths are so strong as to they're invincible. Anybody can be beat. They're all beatable based on matchups, based on injuries, based on home court or just winning a game here and there. Like, I think that this is going to be a really fun playoff series because we just don't have that big bad team that feels like they're going to sweep through everyone. Okay, let's talk about some of the rumors, right? I mean, you can literally go through almost every team, and they have been involved in some rumors. The Clippers kicking the tires on potentially trading for Kevin Love. So the Lakers and the Clippers are both looking to improve themselves. The Lakers need another point guard. I guess it doesn't really have to be a point guard as much as they need another ball handler, right? So if and they're looking for a wing that can play defense, that can help them guard the likes of, the big scorers from other teams, the Kawhis and the Paul Georges of the world, the ones that they'll match up with, directly into the Western Conference. And the Clippers, they need to get a little bit bigger. And this is not like a knock on, well, for the Lakers, it is more of a knock, right? Like, Rondo's not good enough to be a backup guard right now and a facilitator. He's just a sieve on defense, and you just can't, you don't get anything from him. And, Caruso's fine for a few minutes. I think Bradley's more of a backup type guard. I don't know if any of them are quite, the ones you can close a game with. And then we talked about that wing. The Lakers have been rumored for Morris's, Covington, players like that. So both of these teams, while they're very good, they are looking to improve. And then you just you start going down the list of teams in the league, and everybody is trying to improve, right? Now the rumors, Andre Iguodala said he won't play for Memphis, and the Memphis young kids are coming after him. He's owed $17.2 million this year. And they said they're not going to buy him out, so they're looking to trade him. Is anybody going to give a whole ton for Iggy? Andre Drummond has been rumored to be up on the trade. The Clippers were rumored for him. Boston was rumored for him. They're kind of looking to get a big man too. Boston, Derrick Rose is another one. Both of the Morris twins are rumored to go to maybe help a team. How about Drew Holiday, JJ Redick? New Orleans isn't too far out of it. That's what with a lot of these teams, especially towards the bottom of the West, these teams are going to have to decide, are they going for it, or are they going to pack it in and let's sell off what we have and maybe get a couple assets for years moving forward, get another pick, get a second rounder or another late first rounder, whatever they can get. Aaron Baines from the Suns, Sacramento with Bjelica and Bogdanovich. Boston, they're looking just to make a move in general. They want to try to get at least another big somewhere. The Wizards were reportedly looking to upgrade because they want to try to keep Bradley Beal happy. They're a team that you would think would maybe be selling. Miami, there lots of different talks about Miami trying to make a move. Philly, they've been struggling. Robert Covington's the name that's been coming up over and over and over again because he's a really good 3-and-D type player, and so he can fit in on really any team. The problem with someone like Covington, though, is it's tough to really match. For a team like the Lakers, they can't really match salaries very well to get someone like him who makes $12 million. And that's one of the big issues that the Lakers have, is that I don't think they're going to really trade anyone, and now there's some rumors coming up about the Knicks being interested in Kuzma. I don't know how much they're going to be able to make a trade because salaries aren't going to be able to match very well for the Lakers. Any trade that they have that's involving Kuzma, he does not make much money at all. He makes $2 million. They're going to have to really throw at least 2 other players into the mix, maybe 3 other players, and then you're going to talk to the Lakers, and even if it's guys that don't play towards the end of their bench, Cook, Daniels, whoever it may be, do you want to trade 3 or 4 members of a first-place team that has really good chemistry? Even if you don't think the Lakers are going to have an opportunity to win it all, if you think that they were not going to be good enough or for whatever reason, this team really likes each other. They have good chemistry, and they really went through something real tough right now with the passing of Kobe. I don't know if changing a locker room, bringing in 2 new players, shipping out 4 players is always going to be the best thing to do. Maybe some small upgrades here and there. I'd love to add a Collison, maybe one other buyout. But I just don't know if you want to make that kind of, personnel movements on a team that really seems to like each other. The Bulls, Levine, there are rumors. Denzel Washington is someone that I think is going to be moved. With the Knicks, we talk about Portis and Morris. The Cavs, Kevin Love. Denver, can they make a move and upgrade? And if they do, is Michael Porter Jr. going to be, off limits? Houston reportedly trying to get Shop Capella. Dallas just made a move. Oklahoma City, they're interesting because they're just much better than they were supposed to be. Everybody assumed that they'd be trying to get rid of Chris Paul at this time, but there are the rumors about Adams and Gallinari. I don't know why they would make really any moves. They're just a fun team. Why not take a shot with what you've got with the team that's overachieved and see if maybe you can upset and win a series or two. And then the Warriors, D'Angelo Russell, kind of all over the trade rumors. Let's see anything else just coming up. Wolves are trying to orchestrate a multi-team trade with Houston and Atlanta, ultimately to land D'Lo. That would put Robert Covington to Houston, Clint Capella to Atlanta, and multiple picks and expiring contracts to Minnesota to pursue D'Lo. Celtics reportedly have interest in Dave Bertans, Miami Heat as a potential suitor for Iguodala. Gary Harris is available from Denver. Darren Collison will make his decision on returning after the All-Star break. Tristan Thompson his camp wants him traded. Oh, he could be someone like for the Clippers, like a big. Yeah, he'll help you rebound a little bit. Not sure if defensively how much he'll help you, but rebounding and hustle. The only problem is the same thing with the Clippers. You have a good team that really hasn't been able to, gel because who's been in and out of the lineup. Are you going to want to make a move that will, have Trez not on the floor as much? I don't know. I think the thing about the teams like the Clippers and the Lakers, or whoever you are, some things that are kind of your weakness are also your strength in a weird way, right? For the Lakers, they don't have as many wings, but their size is what's great. So I don't want the Lakers to give up, any one of, obviously AD or Dwight or JaVale, because it's nice to be able to kind of have bigs and be able to go big and to just kind of have that as a little bit different, especially because LeBron's going to be on the court, and then you have Kuzma in there sometimes, and you can kind of go big with your guards, even if you get Avery Bradley in there, Danny Green sometimes, Caruso, so you can go really big. KCP, that's a strength of them. And then something for the Clippers, you're really switchy and your team is built pretty well. The only way, the Clippers could get beat is maybe against a team that just has a little bit more size than them, but they're going to want to try to stretch them out anyways and just throw wings at them and, and try to beat them with their guards and their wings. So we'll see. 76ers, Grizzlies, possible landing spots for Denzel Washington. Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun rumors. So we will we'll keep monitoring these, and we'll talk about any of the trades that happen on our next episode, which will either be late Thursday or early Friday. Now there's stuff at Wiggins. Now Wiggins is reportedly 4-team, 7-player trade involving Covington, Wiggins, Russell, Capella, Looney, Nene, and Evan Turner. Wiggins maybe to Golden State. I don't know. It's funny when there's just so many rumors out there. So it's fun to speculate, but none of this is official, and we'll be able to report it all come late Thursday, Friday once the trade deadline. Let's move into trade rumors for another sport. Dodger fan here, so we're going to talk about a big rumor that's been out there. Mookie Betts going to be traded from the Red Sox. He just has 1 year left, and he has 1 year contract. And they just don't want to sign him to a long-term deal. And if they make a move with the Dodgers would be reportedly taking or interested in taking David Price and some of the salary, and that could be a nice and they could be nice trade partners. So the deals would include, I mean, it's hard to say because the Dodgers just have a ton to give. And so if Boston wanted something, the Dodgers would have the best opportunity to give it because they have ready-made major league talent and they have really good prospects to pull from. So what's interesting about this is I'm reading, a Fangraphs article, and it talks about how the Dodgers had the best rotation in terms of ERA last year. In this year coming in, they would be projected again without making any moves to be really good. They would be projected with a combination of Kershaw, Buehler, Urias, Maeda, Wood, Dustin May, Ross Stripling, Jimmy Nelson, Tony Gonsolin. That would be projected to rank 5th in the majors based on the projections for Fangraphs. So that would be projected to be 5th based on the projections, right? Yeah, really. And so the Dodgers have pitching. They're set up. They just feel like they need a little more. I think I would really like this trade, and I think if you're Boston and you're kind of already at the point where it feels like you're gonna get Mookie, you're gonna give Mookie up, you might as well get something back. And the Dodgers have a lot to give. They have a lot to give. So wow, baseball season is really coming soon. It is. Things that I would be willing to trade if I were the Dodgers, because remember, you're only getting Mookie for sure for a year, and then you have David Price. I was reading it would be something along the lines of built around Verdugo. Boston likes Alex Verdugo. That's fine. I like Verdugo. I think he's good, but if you're getting Mookie back for a year and you have really nice pieces out there. The Dodgers didn't do much because they didn't have to do much, right? Feel like just add a little bit. Continue to add to the bullpen. Continue to just add pieces that you can, but I don't want to subtract the whole ton. And if you're okay with giving up some prospects, because we have a lot of young major league talent right now that's going to be around for a while. Yeah, when you hear like Ken Rosenthal and Buster Olney, they said this trade will happen. Like Mookie Betts is getting traded. It's just a matter of to the Dodgers or to the Padres. It looks like one of those two teams. So come on, Dodgers. You got to go all in right now. You go in right now. Get another pitcher because, man, you look, if you add David Price to that group of pitchers, and maybe Maeda's not in there, or maybe one of them goes out in the trade, It wouldn't be Kershaw. It wouldn't be Buehler. It wouldn't be May. So right there, you have 3. You're looking at Price not having to have a lot of pressure on him. It's like like a number 4 starter, and you're coming out to the National League versus the American League East. That'd be just a different story. I would really like to give him a shot. Okay, let's take a little commercial break, and then when we return, we'll recap the Super Bowl. One of the sponsors of That's What G Said podcast is Cindy Carava, full-service realtor, and I am here over in Glendora at Coldwell Banker with Cindy Carava. Cindy, how was 2019 for you? Tell us a little bit about what kind of stuff you were working on.
Hi, Gino. Thanks for having me. 2019 was just really great. I had a great year selling homes all the way from Altadena, Arcadia, Monrovia, out to Upland and Ontario just recently. The market has been really good. We're looking forward to 2020 with an increase in home prices about 5.8% this year, opposed to last year where it was a little softer. We saw more like homes averaging about 3.5% in increase in value. It's also looking great for buyers. The interest rates right now are going to be staying under 4%. So if you've been on the fence about thinking about buying a home, now is the time to do so with interest rates still staying low.
And you offer more services than just the buying, selling, and leasing homes. Tell us about some of the other services that you offer and what a full service realtor really is.
So you're right, Gino. Besides me being a full-service realtor of finding properties for my clients to buy or selling their homes or finding rentals for them, I also have a plethora of resources like handyman, contractors, electricians, plumbers. I even, if like I said, if you're thinking about getting a home loan, I actually work with 2 great lenders that I can recommend to anybody.
And you're all over the internet, social media, websites. Let us know some of the places where we can find you. I know I've seen some reviews on Yelp and on Zillow. Everyone always has positive things to say. Everybody hears me raving about you all the time. But where can everyone else find out information about you or contact?
Thank you, Gino. Yeah, I am on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. And you can contact me on my website, which is www.cindycarava.com, or my email, which is cindyc.realtor@gmail.com, or feel free to call or text me on my cell phone, which is 626-394-6400.
Cindy is awesome. She's one of the kindest and most genuine people I've ever met. I promise you, you will enjoy every minute you interact with her. So thank you very much, Cindy. Appreciate all of your support from That's What G Said podcast.
Thank you, Gino. Have a great day, everyone.
Really good Super Bowl, and it was a fun back and forth game, right? It was an entertaining game, and a game where we actually did pretty well with some of our prop bets. You can go back and listen to some of the props that we have, and I'll kind of mention ones as we go through them. But we did really well. One of the ones that we had was Mahomes at 14-1 to score the first touchdown, which was excellent. We had San Francisco to score first. We had the team that scored first did not win the game. We lost on a couple of the other of the to score first touchdowns. But what was great is they were all, like 5-1, 12-1. I think they were 8-1, 12-1, and 14-1. So we hit with our longest one with Mahomes. We lost on would there be a defensive or special teams touchdown. We hit the over on Tyreek Hill receiving yards. We had the under on would there be a field goal over 48.5 yards. Nailed that one. We had Jimmy G under on the completions, which was 21, and that landed at 20. So a really good. There may be one or two more that we had, and maybe one or two more that we missed. But if you go back, you can hear. And so that ended a really nice football season where we ended positive. We were over 500 with our totals, and like 52, just not too far over 500, 52 and 49. But what was great is we had a lot of money lines, and then if you include the props in there, where when I say money lines, one way we play is positive money lines. I'm never like giving, playing a team based on the money line and giving minus 150, minus 200, anything like that. So always looking to get the best value possible. Let's get through this game and talk about what happened. At one point, San Francisco's up 10 in the fourth quarter. They had a 95.6% win probability in that game. The huge play was that big 3rd and 15. We'll kind of get through it as we recap the game. But to me, the real key was Chiefs ran 75 plays. 49ers ran 54. And the Chiefs scored 21 points in the final 6 minutes and 13 seconds of the game. Kansas City trailed by double digits in all 3 of their playoff games. They come back to win this game. Final score I mentioned again, 31-20. It was much closer than that. If you look at the game and go, it wasn't close. It was very, very close all the way through. The 49ers got up 3-0 after taking a long 5+ minute drive and then kicking a field goal. Then Kansas City goes 7+ minutes for a touchdown on a Mahomes run. It was a 15-play drive. And then it looked like Kansas City had all the momentum because Jimmy G throws an interception. But KC can only get a field goal off of that. So now they're up 10-3. And then the 49ers come right back with a really strong response, touchdown drive. They tied up at 10-10. And then right before the half, there was a little controversy because San Francisco was going to get the ball back to end the half. And they were going to get the ball back to start the second half. So instead of calling a timeout and taking their best opportunity to score some points to end the first half, they don't call any timeouts. They let a ton of time tick off the clock. And they then, on a third down, they accidentally pick up 20 yards, and then they're kind of caught in between. Then they end up calling a timeout, and there's a terrible offensive pass interference call that ends up costing them at least 3 points. If they would have had a little bit more time, they would have had many opportunities to move the ball, and they moved the ball really well in this game. This wasn't like they ran the ball really well. This was just an instance of, Kansas City got the ball at the right time. They capitalized when they needed to, and it was like a little cat and mouse. They kicked the 49ers were content kicking a couple field goals, whereas Kansas City ended up turning their scores into touchdowns. Yeah, they're really bad offensive pass interference call, though. That cost San Francisco at least 3 points. They completed a 42-yard pass to Kittle down to the Kansas City 13, and with 6 seconds left, they would have maybe been able to take one shot or just even kick a field goal. You get an extra 3. Instead, they have to kneel with 6 seconds left. They had let the clock run all the way down to 26 seconds before that big third down play, and then they're just kind of caught in between. For a really good coach, I thought this was, obviously really poor clock management, but, Shanahan said after the game that they didn't want to give Mahomes time if they were to go 3 and out quickly. That's understandable, but I just, you're looking at the scoreboard and you're going, okay, it's 10-10 here. You think we're going to really be able to hold this team to 20, or 24? And it was, they held them to 31, but you feel like when you're playing Kansas City, you have to keep scoring. And it's tough to be critical on Shanahan, right? Because he was so good all this year. He gets them here. He beats up on everybody else. But he did, I think, have a couple mistakes in this game that might have hurt San Francisco in a really close game. I think it's fair to say that. And, even the best have really, have games where they just have mistakes. And the Super Bowl brings it out of you. So San Francisco kicks a field goal to start the second half. They're up 13-10. And then Mahomes throws back-to-back interceptions. And all of a sudden, it looks like this game is over. San Francisco scores a touchdown following the first interception. They're up 20-10. And then the second interception comes with 11:57 left to go in the game. San Francisco gets a first down. They take 3 plus just over 3 minutes off the clock. Then they punt with 7:13 left. There's a 3rd and 15 from Kansas City's own 35. And this is the play that you see, and this is the play, kind of the reason why Mahomes ended up winning the MVP. Crazy pass where he drops back to scramble around, 44-yard pass. This went, and he dropped back like 10-plus yards, so this was like a 55 to 60-yard pass, really, from where he threw it. And then 1 minute later, Kansas City scores a touchdown. They cut it to 20-17 just so quickly that 20-10 felt like 100 points, and then you get to 20-17, and you could almost tell that, okay, now all the pressure in the world is on the 49ers here. Because, if they don't score, this Kansas City Chiefs team is going to score. And sure enough, 1 minute later, Kansas City. Okay, so Kansas City's touchdown is at 6:13. San Francisco goes 3 and out. Casey gets the ball back with 5 minutes and 10 seconds left. And here's what their plays were. They picked up 5 yards, 9 yards, 3 yards, 38 yards, 6 yards, a sack, and then they scored a touchdown. And now they're up. And they put San Francisco in a situation where they have to score a touchdown. Now you're down 4. So San Francisco gets the ball with 2:44 left. They get to midfield, 4th and 10. They get sacked. And the real big play was on 3rd and 10 when Jimmy G overthrew Emmanuel Sanders. It would have been a touchdown. He just missed him. He just overthrew him. And Emmanuel Sanders had the defense beat. And, that's why as a 49ers fan or someone who bet the 49ers or backed them, you're up by 10 midway through the fourth quarter. Your defense has been your calling card all year. You've been able to just run the ball and suck the life out of games and just dominate on the ground. And unfortunately, just like it all went bad in a half of a quarter. And your coaching was excellent. And it's like, so all the things that were your strength, you just could not lean on or you could not get to. And there were just 1 or 2 plays, like that 3rd and 15 play. If Mahomes doesn't make that play, I don't think they win. And we now, saw a game where Mahomes didn't even really play that well. He was 26 for 42. He had 268 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He had 2 fumbles. He actually recovered both of them. He was real jittery early on. He skipped a few passes. He was really short, and he just was not great through 3, and then he was awesome in the 4th. Hill had 9 receptions for 105 yards. Watkins had 5 receptions for 96 yards. Kelsey had 6 receptions for 43 yards and a touchdown. And then you look over at San Francisco, and Jimmy G was 20 for 31. He had 219 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. And Bourne was their leading receiver with 42 yards. Juszczyk had a touchdown, and he actually was good with his 3 receptions for 39 yards. Deebo Samuel only had 5 receptions for 39 yards, but he did run the ball a few times. He had 3 carries for 53 yards, so he was good and elusive. Emmanuel Sanders, 3 receptions for 38 yards. Kittle, 4 receptions for 36. They spread it around, but nobody was really great or dominant or able to break anything. Even Mostert. They ran the ball really well. Mostert had 12 carries, 58 yards, and a touchdown. Deebo ran the ball 3 times for 53 yards, and Tevin Coleman 5 carries for 28 yards. They just didn't continue to run, and it was just one of those weird games where it was like things happened at the right time. That you look at the stats, they were pretty even, just like comparing the team stats. And then at the end of the game, Damian Williams breaks that 38-yard touchdown to put Kansas City up 31-20. I thought he was the MVP. He had 17 carries, 104 yards and a touchdown, and he had 4 receptions for 29 yards and a touchdown. Congratulations to Kansas City. San Francisco, that's a tough loss, but a great season for a team who soared past their projections, a team that I was dead wrong on all year. One of our listeners, Stan Ware. Stan, bummer for you that they lost. I'm sure you were pumped when they were up there playing so well early, but they lost to a good team, young team. You should be back. It's hard in the NFL to get back. We saw with the Rams this year. You thought they would have a little bit better year, but what's nice about San Francisco is their defense feels like, even if offensively maybe they regress a little bit or they're not quite as efficient, I feel like their defense is going to just be very good for the next few years, and it's going to keep them in a lot of games. So 49ers fans, I'm sure you have a lot to be excited about moving forward. Let's start talking a little horse racing. Let's get over to Sam Houston, and let's break down the Sam Houston racing for February the 5th for Wednesday. Horse racing fans and bettors of all kinds, we are very excited to be covering the races from Sam Houston Race Park here on That's What G Said on each and every episode. They're broadcasting in HD. They have bigger purses, turf racing over there. But for me, the key is that 12% low takeout on their multi-leg wagers. Doubles, pick 3s, pick 4s, pick 5s. They are building a great program over there. It truly is Major League Racing. We have to give a big applause to the TTA, the Texas Thoroughbred Association. They've added new incentives and bonus programs for buying and selling horses, so it's better for the customers and it's better for the horsemen in Texas. Their social media presence has been bumped up. You can follow them at SHRP Racing on Twitter, and you're going to find morning training videos, the Monday Minute, jockey interviews, or if you're not on Twitter, you can find all the information at shrp.com. They're just working so hard to treat their horsemen and women and the bettors right, so let's give them a little bit of our focus. A couple big days coming up. February the 22nd is Texas Preview Day, and the big day, March the 21st, that is Texas Champions Day. We'll be covering all of that action here on That's What G Said with all sorts of different interviews focusing in on Sam Houston. Make sure when you go to play the races, give Sam Houston a look with that ultra-low 12% takeout in the multi-leg wagers. Get your past performances out Wednesday, February the 5th, Sam Houston. I really like this Wednesday card. And let's get right into race number 1 at Sam Houston. Maidens, $50,000. Claimers, they're going to go 5 furlongs on the turf course. And I'm going to use a few in here, but we'll kind of go inside to outside. I thought the one Nomo Hooch as a long shot, a little bit interesting. Blinkers come off. This one actually does have a little speed. So from the rail, they're going to send hard. And he's coming out of a race where there were 3 next out winners. The runner-up won a maiden special weight at Sam Houston. The third-place finisher won a maiden 10 over at Delta. And the fourth-place finisher won a maiden 5 at Sam Houston. This is the first time on the turf gelding, and there are 3 winning turf sibs that are combined 9 for 68 on the turf. Not bad. The rail draw is a concern, but you're going to get a little bit of a price in here. I think this one can sneak into your exotics. I'm going to use in the early pick 5, which starts in race number 1. And in race number 1, the deuce riding the train will step on the grass again. One of 2 sibs, one on the turf. They've only raced once on the grass, and it was against Maiden Specials over at Canterbury, and it was a while back. The 3 Auto Parts has not raced since December of 2018. I just feel like this guy has to need a race for some of his best. The 4 Expected Cat. First time on the turf. The sibs are combined 0 for 12 on the green. Did face winners last time out over at Sunland. I'm going to kind of go elsewhere. I like the 5 in here. Rubber Bandman. Blinkers on. 2 sibs the race. One of them won on the turf. In his debut, he went 6 furlongs on the main at Remington against Oklahoma-bred maiden special weights. And he broke pretty well. He settled mid-pack. He was 5 off, and then he was 2-3 deep. He made a nice middle move up to 3rd before he tired. He ran pretty well in spots. I think this guy has a little bit of talent. So I'm going to put him on top in here. The 5. The 6 is the first-time starter. The Dam was a 7-time winner, but over 2 on the turf. 6 sibs racing combined 12 for 72, but none of them won on the grass. 0. They've actually never started on the grass. And then the number 7, he's wide open. 4 siblings, they all won, but just one of them won on the grass. The 8's the 2-5 favorite on the morning line. You don't see 2-5 all too often. Look at who he faced in his first couple starts. Knicks Go. That's a grade 1 winner, and Knicks Go was also second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and then Everfast, who was second in the Holy Bull, but we know him as the horse who was actually second in the Preakness. World was 3rd against Maiden Specials last time out, and it was his first start. He hadn't raced since September of 2018, so he had to need the start, and it was in the slop. So now he's going to go second start off the long layoff, but he hasn't had any turf success. His only try on the grass was not great. The problem is it was at Kentucky, and it was the race that sent him to the layoff, so you can probably make an excuse for it. He was actually favorite that day. In his most recent start, in his comeback race, he was up to second. He pressed from a couple lengths off. He was in the slop. He was all in early. He came on again late to win a photo for 3rd. It was, he towers over this field as far as like class and what should be talent. But I think the 5's got some ability, so I'll put the 5. I'll use the 5 with the 8. We'll use the 1, 2 between the 3 of them. I think the way you probably play this race is you maybe play 2 different approaches in a pick 5, and maybe you play one where you just single the 8 and you go deep in the other races, and then maybe you play one where you use you either chuck the 8 out, or depending on the way you play the other races. If you're chalky in the other races, then you play one where you chuck the 8 out, or you use the 8 and you kind of shorten up in some spots. I would go 1-5-8. The problem is I don't know if this is a favorite that I'd be willing to chuck out, and it's just at such a short price. You generally want to single, so I'd probably play one where we single the 8, and then another one where we use the 1, 5, and the 8. And the 5 might be worthy of some win money as we check odds. If he's around double digit odds, he could sneak into a horse that I play for win. And no Mo Hooch to round out some of the exotics there. So we'll use 5 and 8 with the 1, and 8 and 5 with the 1, in different spots like that. Let's move on to race number 2, and we start with the 1, Eyes on Red, who's still a non-winner of 3, so kind of looks like a long shot in here. The 2, Royal Reality, broke well. He went right to the lead. He went to battle from the 2 path with the 4-5 favorite, Call Me Richard, who ended up winning that race. He just hasn't shown much in his last couple barns now, changing barns a few times, and he has speed. That's what's nice. So he'll get in the mix, but there's other speed in here, and that's what concerns me. The 3, Cat Second Silver, the barn's a little cold right now. Good barn, just struggling. They're 0 for their last 28, and this particular runner is 0 for his last 10. He's 0 for 12 at the distance, but he's really in a much softer spot, and he fits really well in here because he has the type of running style where he should sit just off the pace. Last out, he broke really well. He sat 4th, 5th. He was 2 deep. He was 4 off. He was 4 wide making a big bid at the top of the lane. He just got a little bit flat late. Like, that same exact effort would win this race. The 4, Hold My Gold Back. He hasn't really been close in his last 9 starts, and a lot of them are against softer, so he does look like a big long shot in here. I love the 5, Grand Bling. I'm going to make him my top selection in this spot. Last out, he hopped at the start, but he recovered pretty well, and he was pressing not far off, but he was wide. He was like 3-4 wide. He came up on even terms at the top of the lane, and he went to the lead, but he just really couldn't sustain that rally. I thought it was a very solid effort, and I expect a big performance for him second time for the new connections. He likes this racetrack. He's run well here in all 3 starts. Let's put the number 5 on top here, Grand Bling. We'll make a win wager if we can get anything like 7-2, and let's use him in all of our exotics. The 6, Little Avenger, really fast, but he's pretty one-dimensional. I don't know if he can sit. There were 2 next out winners from his last start. The 3rd finisher won a $25 non-3 at Sam Houston. The 5th finisher won a $20,000 non-3 next out at Delta. Little Avenger broke on top, but 5 others flashed speed, and they lined up across the racetrack, and then he ends up packing it in early. So he had an excuse, but will he be able to clear the field and not have to deal with other pressure in here? It looks like there's a pretty good amount of other speed. Wally Peabody will go second start off the bench. If you toss the turf races, his form looks a little bit better. It was a good start last out. He was close up inside. He was just behind the top 2. He got shuffled back a little bit. He looked like he was done, but then he angled out and he came on again. It was a weird trip. He could get a nice setup in here, and this race might be able to kind of fall into a good trip. And then Bold Bulldog to round things out, going to go second off the bench. He was outrun a little bit early. He was 4 off. He was 4 wide. He was always in the clear. He just kind of got up in his last stride to beat the 1-5 favorite. You could do worse than throwing him in. I wouldn't really talk you off him, but I have 5-3, 6-7 in here, and the 5 and 3 are the 2 that I'm going to try to build most of the exotics around. If you want to throw in Little Avenger, sure, but at a short price, I'm fine with chucking him out. I'd actually rather throw in the 7 at a little bit of a price, but I think the 6 will probably be tough to keep out of your, exacta try supers or your top 3 or your top 4. But just as far as the win on the win end is concerned, if you're playing, a pick 4 here or pick 5, you just can't play the heavy chalk in every race. There has to be 1 or 2 of the races where you just take a stand and say, okay, this is the race where I don't like the favorite as much and I can try to beat them. Because it's not worth playing tickets that, could end up chalking out, and you could end up, not even getting your investment back depending on how big of a ticket you play. So unless you're going to play really short and just kind of play the chalk all the way through a certain card that you like, but that's never really fun, right? The point is try to get the best value that we can, and we'll try to find the most vulnerable favorites and play against them. And this might be one because he feels a little one-dimensional, Little Avenger. Like if he doesn't break alertly and get a lead, or if a couple others go quick with him, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to kind of dig down and shrug everyone off. I'm going to try to quicken things up here. This would be a really long segment if we don't. Race number 3, maiden 15s, claimers. They're going a mile in here. Yeah, this is a fun one too, right? Like I legitimately go through, and you can make a case for most in here. The one Wits Hurricane, who's getting a big drop, he's kind of searching for where he fits, right? He was just outrun. He was last into the turn. He was double-digit lengths off, but he kept to the inside. He moved in between horses in the stretch. He was okay late, but the lack of speed hurts him a little bit. I do like the 2 Rebel Rumble. He settled inside in his most recent start. He was 5 off, but he was 8th, 9th. He was, behind a wall of horses. He was in tight. He lost some ground, but he kept to the inside, and he made up some ground late, and he never really had a shot to run because he was always kind of in a tight spot. He just didn't get an opportunity to really stretch his legs, but he was big on the gallop out. He drops. Now he stretches out. We're going to put the number 2 Rebel Rumble on top in here. Looks like the 3 is a little bit of a long shot. He just hasn't shown much in his 3 starts, and those were against Texas Breds, now in against Open Company. I like Punch Out. I'm going to put Punch Out here in the 2nd spot. Most recently, he was forced out at the start. He was 6th. He was 5 off. That was going 6.5 furlongs. He moved off the rail to take a shot, but the top 2 had already slipped away, and he was a clear-cut third that day. I think this will be more like that November 20th race when he was forwardly placed from the outside. He was third. He was just a couple lengths off. The winner that day, though, Foxy Ace, just got away early, and they really just couldn't keep up with him late. And nobody really challenged that one. So I do like the fact that Punch-Out that day kind of moved through into second and at least took a little bit of a shot at the eventual winner. So Punch-Out will have in the second spot. I do think the 5 Rama is a horse to use on the drop for Steve Asmussen. The debut, is favored, and he completely missed the break. He was 11th of 12. He was 8-9 off. Then he angled outside, and he made up some ground. It really wasn't bad. He just was never in contention. Lost to a horse who was dropping in for a tag for the first time. I'll take a shot against Wilkie G in here, who's dropping in with claimers. His last start was okay. He was 6th, 7th, 8th, but he was just 4 or 5 off. He was in between horses. It was against better. The 4th place finisher won next out against Maiden Special Weight. So, yeah, it was a tougher group, but I don't know. He doesn't have a whole lot of speed. He's going to go 2 sprints to a route, stretches out, so maybe he sits a little closer. His figures-wise, he looks like a standout, but I like a couple others in here with some upside, and maybe this is the race where we get a little too greedy trying to beat Wilkie G, but I'm fine with taking a shot against him in some of the early exotics. I wouldn't talk you off either of the outside 2 horses. I'd have to get, Midnight Revolt, I'd have to go a little deep to get to, but at a price, he takes a big drop in class. He stretches out. This barn is coming off of a really nice 2019, and to start 2020, they had a good start to this meeting. They won 3 races in a row. Since then, they've been 0 for 5, but all 3 of those wins did come with the same jockey aboard. This trainer-jockey combination with Torres and Valdez Jimenez is 63 for 260, their last 261. If you go really big on their sample size, that's 24% and 54% in the money over a 260-horse sample size. That's unbelievable. These connections win a ton of races together. You round out the field, Alpine Empire, who had a slow start, was 10-plus out of it, angled to the 2-path, and then really started to roll, then kept to the middle of the track, flew late, and now you're getting some extra distance. I have this race 2, 4, 5, 8. I'm going to put Rebel Rumble on top of Punch-Out, on top of Rama, on top of Alpine Empire. Now, if you're playing exotics, the 6 probably hits the board in the tries and the supers, right? But the way that I'm handicapping and I'm talking is for the rolling exotics, like the pick 3s, the pick 4s, and the pick 5s. I'm okay with taking shots against some of these short price horses in the win end. Let's go to race number 4 with the 1 Land and Sea, major player in here, getting back to the turf. By far the best races have been on the grass. The lack of speed hurts a little bit, and the rail, going 5 furlongs, you might get stuck in a bad spot, but you're going to go second off the bench. Should be set for a really good effort as long as she can work out a trip. Covert Special, the 2, has not raced since July 4th of 2017. Has to need a race. Just Betty looks like a mare who might show a little speed. She's shown some speed in her grass races. She's been much better on the grass, but I like others a lot more in here. Like the 4, Zip It Up, My Sister, who's going to go second start off the bench. Got the prep out of the way. She's had many layoffs, so it's a big plus whenever she's able to put 2 starts together. She has some speed, but she can pass horses. I think she takes a nice step forward returning to the grass in here. Speedy, but can sit. Zip It Up, My Sister. The number 5, Miss Mere, I need to see a little bit more from. She's kind of a wild card coming into the Broberg barn. And, of course, toss any runners from that hot barn at your own risk. Miss B looks like a pace factor. She was 50-1 when she wired a field. I'm going to make her prove it to me. The 7 is the main track only, so we'll just kind of act like that one's not in. The 8, Temple Tower, looks like a long shot to me. I thought the 9, Apollina, you could throw into the mix, and the 10, Iata. So for me, I had 4, 1, 9, 10 in this one. I think the 1's going to, is probably the one to beat, and I think the 4 is really set up to run well in here. So 4, 1 are the 2 that I really like, and then I will throw they're kind of on a tier above the 9 and the 10. Race number 5 is the end of that early pick 5 sequence, end of the early pick 4 sequence, start of the Space City pick 6. Fun race. Just making cases for everyone. Like the one clear advantage was asked for some speed from the outside in his debut. He was 2-3 off. He was in 6th, and then he looms up. He's right on even terms with the leaders. He keeps trying hard all the way. He has every right to take a nice step forward. Just the concern is the inside draw, but he seems like he has a little bit of versatility the way that he moved, and I think he has a little more speed if they want to try to use that to get out from the inside and then maybe secure a nice spot. The 2 Sporty Flyer went right to the lead in between horses, and then he was at the rail. He battled all the way. He tired late, but he was just passed by Clear Advantage, who was second that day, and the Sporty Flyer ended up finishing third on January the 22nd. Looks like Reckless Decision is a long shot. First-time gelding at 50-1. Just has not shown much out on the racetrack. The 4 Full Trigger, one of the major contenders in here. His first step in his debut wasn't fast, but then he recovered pretty well, and he moved through nicely up to challenge at the top of the lane. He angled around. It was a good third. He has every right to take another step forward in here. He figures right in contention with the top ones. But to me, he looks kind of like a few of the others, and I don't want him to be too short of a price because this is a more wide open race than just Full Trigger and everyone else. The first-time starters of the 5, 6, and 7 can't really build cases for them. The Dam is unraced of the 5. The 3 Sibs, they're combined 2 for 81. Barn over 15 with first-time starters. The 6 Witch Shortstop. The Dam was a 10-time winner, earned $100,000. 2 siblings for Wit, 1 winner. The connections are just 1, or the trainer just 1 for 19 with the recent first-time starters. And the 7 Paw Salty Pepper. The Dam was 2 for 9, but this is the first full to race. Connections, trainer, just 2 for 23 with most recent first-time starters. The 8, He's a Suitor. I'll make the slight top selection in here. He's in with Texas Bred now. His Delta debut was pretty good. He broke inward, but he got to the 3 path into the turn. He was wide, then he's back to 4th, and then he went up to press. He kind of shifted around a little bit, but he ran in some spots, and he definitely showed some ability there. And that was against open maiden special weights. Now you're in with Texas Breds. Don't completely toss out Colonel Bowie, who's going to go first-time Diodoro. The 10 is Zipster. That's a first-time starter. The Dam was in a race. That's the first full of the race. Barn was 0 for 7 with first-timers. The 11 Two-Step and Disco, I'm going to use in here. This guy flashed a little ability last year. You can excuse that effort in the slop last out. I think he can take a step forward in here. The 12 Rock the Devil. I mean, it's tough to really dismiss him. He had a good start. He was up to second to press, couple lengths off. Coming out of that very same race with the 13 Wildcats Bling, who was outrun a little bit early, but they had to bid up the inside, and he ran in spots. As I mentioned, this is just a wide open race. I'm not high on the first timer from the outside from a tough post, but just building cases for everyone in here. I like the 8 and 1 as kind of my top 2. We'll see who is a better price of those 2, and then I kind of have 8, 1, 11, and 4 as then the top tier. And then behind that, I mean, 12, 2, 13, just a great early pick 5 sequence because I feel like there are a couple favorites you can take shots against, and there are a couple really wide open races like race 5. I'm going to skip race number 6 because I'm not playing anything in race number 6 myself. So this is the start of the late pick 5, but I'm just going to play a late pick 4 because I'm going to play an early pick 5 and then a late pick 4. That's what's so great about the low takeout at Sam Houston. I don't feel forced to have to play every pick 5 just because it's a lower takeout wager. I can play a pick 3 for the 12% takeout. I can play a double if I just like a certain daily double sequence. So if you're someone that doesn't want to play a pick 5, just play a pick 4 or pick 3 in some of those early races there. I'll give you a couple of the ways I approached it. I mentioned I think you can maybe single the 8 in the first race on 1 and then play another ticket where you go 1, 5, 8. So my early pick 5 would be like 1, 5, 8 with 3, 5, with 2, 4, 5, 8, with 1, 4, and then spread out in the last 1, 2, 4, 8, 11, 12, 13. And, if you single the 8 in the first, then you can go even deeper if you'd like. It can be something like single the 8 with 3, 5, 6, 7, with 2, 4, 5, 8, with 1, 4, and then 1, 2, 4, 8, 11, 12, 13. But again, don't feel forced to play a pick 5. You could play a pick 4, pick 3 if those are too big for your budgets. Daily doubles even with the low 12% takeout. Let's move to race number 6. Or we're at number 6, and we're going to skip that one because to me, this is kind of just an obvious race. I couldn't get around 2, 3, 4. So I'm looking at 3 horses that are probably going to be the A, B, C's, and just not sure which to leave out. To me, the 2 looked pretty tough, so, it's just, okay, let's skip it, and let's play the late pick 4 instead. So let's go to race 7. And I'm going to go to the 4 in here, Betta Lake, whose lone turf try was a really good one. Just crushed a field, showed really good speed, and now comes back to the turf, and you look up and down, this is not a group that has a ton of speed in here. I think she might be the one to catch, or I think he might be the one to catch, Betta Lake. So we're going to put the 4 on top. The 6 disinclined, wheels back pretty quickly. We played this guy last week. He was hooked 3 deep and for like the first half mile, and then he was caught in between. He was up to challenge, but he was all in at the top of the lane after that tough trip. And now he drops in with Texas bred. So I think he looks like the one to beat in here. I'm going to also include the 10, Excalibur Ridge, in the late pick 4. It's going to go second start off the bench. Sneaky turf form, Excalibur Ridge. And then the 1, Cowboy Bling. Just really logical. His lone turf try was good. He's going to go second off the bench. He ran pretty well in his comeback race. Cowboy Bling. Plenty of things to like there. 4, 6, 10, 1 in race number 7. And then we move to race number 8. And this to me is a race where I think you could single Madiba. This looks like the speed of the speed. Lost to next out winner Masterly, who was an allowance 5 winner. Madiba has been good at this trip. I remember Madiba back in Southern California when Madiba was a horse who was like a really highly regarded 3-year-old early on in his career. And he has talent, and he has some back class, and he's faced better, and now he's dropping in. This is going to be one of the softer spots he's been in a while, and I don't think anyone in here is really as quick as he is. So Madiba stretching out. He should be really, really tough for Broberg. The speed of the speed in here. I'll put the 5 on top of the 7, Excavation, who I'll kind of treat as a wild card, who's going to go first off the claim. Diodoro brought this one out here, who had last raced in California, Golden Gate, and then it had raced in Southern California previously. And Excavation was competitive against better claimers in California. I wouldn't be shocked to see him perk up second time over at Sam Houston. A lot of times these horses, we expect them to do so well first time against softer or first time on a new circuit, but it just takes a little while to get acclimated. The 6, Uncle Wit, should be sitting close up. Horse who's run really well at Sam Houston, and his prep was okay. Should improve second off the bench. And then the 8, Unbroken Song, we'll include in the exotics there. So we have 5, 7, 6, 8. But I do think if you're playing late exotics, the 5 Madiba would be a place that I would single. And then I usually play 2 tickets. I'd always single on one and then maybe play another small one where I back up and use a couple of the other horses I'd like along with Madiba. But for the bigger tickets, let's make Madiba the big single here in the late exotics. Race number 9. I'm just going to use 3 in some exotics. The 10 is obviously the horse to beat. Critical Decision from the outside, big speed. But there's other speed in here. That's what concerns me a little bit. And I think the 7, if just a repeat of the race she had last time out, she from the rail had to come from off the pace, should really fit this race beautifully. So we're going to go 7 with the 10, and then the 4. Don't dismiss this 4, who's dropping second off the bench with Parker, cutting back to 5.5 furlongs, who has some speed. I'm just concerned that Ricky's Gift ends up battling with Critical Decision. So let's put the 7 on top of the 10 on top of the 4. We'll use those 3 in your exotics. And then to close things out in race number 10, we will go to the 9, who I think is the quickest in here. Dreaming Tiger. Going to be third start of the year, third start off the bench. Should be set for a really good effort after taking a little step back last time out when battling up front. But the key is, if she can clear with the outside, I don't. She can sit a little bit, and she can win if she sits, but I would so much like to rather see her try to get out front, send hard, and see if they can clear this field. So we'll put the 9 Dreamin' Tiger on top of the 4 Rose LaRue, who looks really tough in here. Just a repeat of that last effort, and the way this race shapes up with, Dreamin' Tiger. Dreamin' Tiger, I'm hoping from a betting standpoint can get the lead, but then there are a bunch of other pressers, right? I think she's the quickest, but then once you get past her, I would be, Bad at Love could be pressing a little bit. Who knows what you're going to get from Dreaming Silent off the long layoff. Aim Spot shouldn't be too far out of it. There's just a lot of pressing type speed, but not like I need the lead speed, and that's where let's hope Dreamin' Tiger gets a little aggressive here. So 9-4, Rose LaRue second. The 10, No Relief in Sight. Should sit close from the outside. Very logical coming in off of good efforts for Asmussen since coming into this barn. And then the 5, Aim Spot. Aim Spot just missed last out. And that was against non-winners of 3. So now and against the non-winners of 2 seems like a logical contender to use. So I have 9, 4, 10, 5. And we'll play late pick 4, something like this in the 7th race. 1, 4, 6, 10, single the 5 with 4, 7, 10, with 4, 5, 9, 10. And then maybe come back with another one in race number 7 where we go something like 4, 6 with 5, 6, 7, 8 with 4, 7, 10 with 4, 5, 9, 10. Make sure a couple horses to include. Probably the better plays of the day for me come earlier in the card in race number 2 with the 5, Grand Bling. And then in race number 4, the number 4, Zip It Up, My Sister. Remember, folks, all throughout February, all throughout March, every episode of That's What G Said, we're going to be covering a lot of horse racing, but we're going to have a segment on every episode where we cover some of the racing like Sam Houston, similar to how we did. Some days we'll spend this much time. Some days we'll spend a little less. Sometimes we'll have interviews on with different trainers, track announcer there, Chris Griffin. We're going to talk with Nick Tamaro, who makes the morning line there. Handicapper Andy Villanueva will have set up. Carl Broberg, trainer, will have set up. So we're going to be focusing in on Sam Houston a lot the next couple months. I'm pumped because they're doing what we asked as horse players, right? They're making things better for us. The takeout's lower. We get more of our money back. They've gotten a big boost in purses. And what do you do when you get a big boost? They build a program. They're broadcasting in HD. They're racing. The quality is just of everything. The field size, it's really good. And so we're going to give back. Sam Houston on Wednesday. Now let's talk a little Kentucky Derby Trail with some 3-year-olds. So we're looking at the Kentucky Derby points list right now, and we'll go through the top 20, 25, mention what their plans are coming up, and then we'll go through some of the probables for the recent or the upcoming races. So try to do something like this every Tuesday. Now, I think this show will have a lot more of a set schedule now, with most likely Tuesday and then late Thursday, Friday shows every week. Tuesday, we'll be able to kind of recap whatever happened the previous weekend. We'll do some Sam Houston Wednesday racing. We will, touch base on whatever's going on in the world of the NBA, college basketball, and then the Thursday, Friday show will be a preview for the weekend. We'll be able to preview all the weekend races. We'll cover Sam Houston Friday, Saturday, whatever big stakes races there are from anywhere else. And we'll preview, college basketball games, big basketball games, whatever's happening that weekend, if there's a big fight or wrestling, anything going on. So number 1 on the points list. You can find all this information at KentuckyDerby.com as far as the points. You're not going to be able to find like where everybody's going. A lot of this stuff I found on DRF, so you probably just can find it there through different DRF articles. Storm the Court, pointing to the San Vicente, February the 9th. Will be likely running in that race against Party Town, Azul Coast, and Ginobili. So the number one gun will be running in a race that has not worth Kentucky Derby points for his first prep. No qualifying points in the San Vicente. Tis the Law, who just won the Holy Bull, looks like they're going to be headed to the Louisiana Derby next. They like the timing of that race. And Florida Derby still on the back burner, but most likely they'll be heading to the Louisiana Derby. And I would say Tis the Law would, to me, is the most deserving favorite right now from what I've seen from him. 1,000 Words won the Bob Lewis. No concrete plans, maybe the San Felipe, but Baffert's, this is what gets difficult with Baffert horses right around this time, is he has a lot, and so they're going to start having to split up a little bit or run 2 and 3 against each other in a race, which he's been doing, a little more recently. Authentic will be pointing to the San Felipe, so who knows what 1,000 Words will do. Shotsky was your runner-up in the Withers, a return trip possibly for the Wood Memorial, maybe the Fountain of Youth. Some options for number 4, Shotsky, on the points list. Number 5 on the points list is Enforceable, who won the Lecomte. They'll be headed to the Risen Star next. It looks like the Risen Star is going to be a full field because a New Door is going to be battling for favoritism. A New Door is number 6 on the points list, and he's headed to the Risen Star next. Number 7 on the points list, Shoplifted, pointing to the Southwest. Also is Silver Prospector, who's number 8, will be pointing to the Southwest. Number 9, Maxfield. He just started training again. Connections don't have any concrete plans for him. They're not going to push him too hard on anything. They're just going to, take it day by day and see, because they don't know and they don't want to say, okay, circle this date, we're going to plan on this prep. I think it's like a day-to-day process with Maxfield. 8 Rings is not working recently. He was 6th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He's currently number 10 on the list for Baffert, but Baffert has a lot more intriguing prospects right now, it at least looks like, than 8 Rings. Independence Hall will be pointed towards one of the 2 Derby prep races this weekend. I say 2, only one of them is worth points, but there will be another that's actually the San Vicente that is a prep, because you're going to be seeing horses that come out of that race still pointing towards other 3-year-old prep races. They're just not going to be able to get any points in this one. Independence Hall will be the favorite in the Sam F. Davis. Number 12 on the list is Dennis's Moment. He's working. He's back getting ready for the Fountain of Youth. Number 13, Gold Street. He won the Smarty Jones. He's headed to the Southwest next. Number 14 is Authentic. He is pointing to the San Felipe. Number 15, Max Player, who is pointing to the Wood Memorial. He won the Withers, and it looks like they're going to be skipping the Gotham. They don't want to cut back for the Gotham. Number 16, Scabbard. He's pointing to the Risen Star. Number 17, Wrecking Crew, has no recent works. Number 18, Ajoweed. Sam F. Davis coming up next, should be one of the top contenders behind Independence Hall. Finnick the Fierce, pointing to the Risen Star next. And then Greenlight Go, who was 3rd in the Swale. We do not know any plans for him coming up. Governor Morris will be pointing to the Southwest. He's number 22 on the list with High Velocity, who was 3rd in the Robert Lewis. Doesn't he kind of feel like one of the Baffert horses that they maybe send to Sunland? Just total speculation. He just kind of feels like a horse who has speed, and maybe they send out there. Answer In, pointing to the Southwest on February the 17th. American Theorem, back on the work tab, pointing to the San Felipe on March the 7th. Silver State, pointing to the Risen Star next. 3 Technique, number 27 on the list, pointing to the Rebel on March the 14th. Azul Coast, we mentioned him once earlier when we talked about the San Vicente probables. Royal Act, pointing to the San Felipe. Going to give that one another shot on the dirt. And Ete Indian, not quite sure. Fountain of Youth would make the most sense for that one. So it's basically your top 30 3-year-olds right now on the Kentucky Derby points list. Let's go through some of the probables for the upcoming races. So Sam F. Davis, February the 8th. Worth 10 points to the winner, 4 to second, 2 to third, and 1 to fourth. Independence Hall, Aja Weed, Albert Park, Chapaloo, No Getting Over Me, Sola Valente, Super John, and Premier Star. Some probables for that one. February 9th, the San Vicente, no points on the line in this race. Storm the Court, Azul Coast, Party Town, and Ginobili look to be lining up among others. The El Camino Real Derby on February the 15th is worth 10 points to the winner, 4 to second, 2 to third, and 1 to fourth. A Journey to Freedom is the only one I could find that was for sure pointing to that race, because one of the horses they were expecting to be in that race was a New Door, who will be in the Risen Star. It looks like that's going to be a big one, and that a big field, and it's the first big points race worth 50 to the winner, 20 to the runner-up, 10 to the third-place finisher, and 5 to the fourth-place finisher. Some of the names pointing to the Risen Star: Mailman Money, Digital, Mr. Big News, Blackberry Wine, A New Door, Enforceable, Silver State, Mr. Monomoy, Finnick the Fierce, Scabbard, Major Fed, Lynn's Map, and Farmington Road. Make that a fun-looking prep race. And then the Southwest, February the 17th, we will see the Baffert Nadal, who is very impressive breaking his maiden. The Southwest will actually be the last of the 10-point prep races, worth 10 to the winner, 4 to the runner-up, 2 to the third-place finisher, and 1 to the fourth-place finisher. Nadal, Villainous, Wells Bayou, Governor Morris, Silver Prospector, Shoplifted, Gold Street, and Answer In look to be horses pointing to the Southwest on February the 17th. That's going to do it for this episode of That's What G Said. We will be back in just a few days with covering all of the stakes for the weekend, the big stakes, and we'll talk Sam Houston for Friday, Sam Houston for Saturday. We'll talk a little bit about the NBA coming up for the weekend, and we'll start getting into some college basketball. I'm going to bring on some college basketball guests soon, because we've neglected college basketball when we've been spending so much time on the NFL. So the focus will be shifting, but the preparation will still be the same. We'll always do our best, and we'll get on a guest if we don't know the topic ourselves. So thanks for tuning in to another episode of That's What G Said podcast. Make sure to subscribe, download, share it around with your friends, and don't forget about that Sarah Candles Valentine's Day box, just $20. Joey, take it away.